Today on November 1st, it's an emergency 30 minutes left. Someone you love in heaven is asking you to open this now. Please don't miss this divine message. My child, you are not here by accident. Even now, as you listen, the veil between heaven and earth grows thin, and a message is reaching for you, one that carries the weight of eternity and the tenderness of someone you love who now dwells in the courts of heaven. This is not just another moment in your day, this is a divine appointment, a sacred interruption, a window in time that has been opened just for you. In the busyness of life, it's easy to overlook the whispers of the Spirit, but today, the call is unmistakable. There is an urgency, a holy stirring, as if heaven itself is leaning in, asking you to pause, to listen, to receive. Imagine, for a moment, the difference between ordinary time and a divine emergency. Ordinary time ticks by, unnoticed, routine. But a divine emergency is marked by a sense of purpose, a sudden clarity, a knowing that something important is unfolding. Right now, you are standing in that space. The one you love, who has crossed into the light, is permitted in this hour to reach across the distance, to urge you, open your heart. Do not let this moment pass you by. Their love is not lost, it is transformed, and it is reaching for you now. You may have felt delayed, overlooked, or even forgotten, but heaven has not forgotten you. This message is a sign that you are seen, cherished, and remembered. The courts of heaven are not silent concerning your life. There is a scroll with your name, a record of your tears, and a promise that your story is not over. The urgency you feel is not fear, it is hope, pressing in, inviting you to step into a new chapter. So, beloved, I invite you, stay with me. Listen to the words that follow, for they are meant for you. If your heart feels a stirring, if you sense the presence of your loved one, let that be your confirmation. And if you wish to receive more messages of hope and restoration, gently subscribe and remain connected. The next moments hold answers you have been seeking, and the journey is just beginning. My beloved child, I see you. In the quiet hours when the world is asleep and your heart aches with memories, you may wonder if anyone truly understands the depth of your pain. You have carried silent burdens, hidden tears that no one else has witnessed. There are moments when the ache of loss feels too heavy to bear, when the absence of the one you love seems to echo through every corner of your life. You may have asked, why was I left behind? Why did I have to walk this path alone? These questions are not signs of weakness, they are the honest cries of a heart that longs for comfort and meaning. But hear this. What feels like abandonment is not the end of your story. In the courts of heaven, your tears are not ignored or forgotten. Each one is gathered, each sigh is recorded, and every longing is known. The divine has preserved you in ways you cannot yet see. What you perceived as rejection was, in truth, a form of hidden protection. There were doors that closed, relationships that faded, and opportunities that slipped away, not because you were unworthy, but because you were being shielded from harm that you could not have foreseen. Earthly sorrow often blinds us to the unseen hand of God, gently guiding us away from what would have broken us. You may look back and see only the scars, the moments when you felt left out or misunderstood. But in the heavenly record, those scars are marks of survival, evidence that you were never truly alone. The one you love, now in heaven, sees the full tapestry of your life. They know the nights you wept, the prayers you whispered, the strength it took to keep going. They want you to know that your pain has not been wasted. In the sacred vaults of heaven, your endurance is honored, your faith is celebrated, and your journey is watched over with compassion. There is a difference between being abandoned and being preserved. Abandonment leaves you exposed, but preservation shelters you, even when you do not understand the reasons. The divine has hidden you in the cleft of the rock, covered you with angelic wings, and written your name on a scroll that cannot be erased. The love you miss is not gone, it has been transformed into a shield, a covering, a promise that you are still being watched over. So, my child, let your heart rest for a moment. Allow yourself to feel the comfort that comes from knowing you are seen and cherished, not just by those on earth, but by those who have gone before you and by the one who holds all things together. Your hidden tears have watered the seeds of your future restoration. What was once sorrow will become strength, and what felt like rejection will be revealed as divine protection. As you move forward, remember, you are not forgotten, and you are never alone. The next part of your journey is unfolding, and heaven is still watching over you. My beloved, there is a battle that rages beyond what your eyes can see. It is not fought with swords or words, but in the quiet spaces of your life, within relationships, opportunities, and the very timing of your breakthroughs. You may have noticed a pattern. Just when hope rises, something seems to block your way. Promises are made, but not kept. Doors open, only to close again. Sometimes, the very people you trust most seem to become the source of your greatest disappointments. This is not a coincidence, nor is it a sign that you are cursed or forgotten. It is the mark of an unseen battle, a spiritual conflict that seeks to delay, distract, and discourage you from stepping into your destiny. There are moments when apologies are spoken, when those around you express regret for their actions or words. Yet, despite these apologies, the pattern repeats. You find yourself circling the same mountain, facing the same obstacles, wondering if you are the problem. But hear this truth: visible apologies do not always reveal invisible intentions. Sometimes, the interference comes not from malice, but from wounds and fears that others carry, wounds that spill over into your life, creating cycles of delay and betrayal. The enemy of your soul is subtle, often working through familiar faces and trusted voices, weaving confusion and doubt into your story. You may have felt betrayed by those you love, or sidelined by those you have supported. Perhaps you have poured out your heart, only to be met with silence or indifference. These experiences can leave you questioning your worth, your discernment, and even your faith. But the courts of heaven see the truth. The divine knows the difference between a genuine heart and a hidden agenda. What is hidden from you is fully revealed before God. The patterns that have held you back are not your fault, nor are they your destiny. They are the evidence of a battle for your future, a struggle to keep you from the fullness of what has been written for you. It is important to recognize that not all delays are denials. Sometimes, the interference is allowed for a season, to strengthen your discernment and deepen your trust. Other times, it is the result of spiritual resistance, forces that do not want to see you rise, forces that fear the light you carry. The enemy uses familiar scripts, distractions, misunderstandings, and even well-meaning advice that leads you away from your true path. But you are being called to see beyond the surface, to look past the visible apologies and discern the invisible patterns. Ask yourself, where have you seen the same cycle repeat, despite your best efforts? Who in your circle seems to always bring confusion or delay, even when their words sound supportive? What opportunities have slipped through your fingers, not because you were unprepared, but because something unseen was at work? These are not random misfortunes. They are signs of a deeper conflict, a spiritual interference that seeks to keep you small, silent, and stuck. But you are not powerless in this battle. The courts of heaven have issued decrees on your behalf. There are angels assigned to your case, scrolls that bear your name, and a record of every injustice you have endured. The delays you have faced are not the end of your story, they are the evidence that your story matters. The enemy does not fight what does not threaten him. Your very struggle is proof of your significance, your calling, and your potential. Now is the time to break the cycle. Begin to pray for discernment, to ask the divine to reveal what is hidden and to expose the true source of your struggles. Do not be deceived by surface-level apologies or empty promises. Trust that God will show you who is for you and who is simply near you. The patterns of delay and betrayal are being brought into the light, and with that revelation comes the power to choose differently, to set new boundaries, and to step forward with confidence. As you prepare to move into the next phase, remember, what has been hidden will be revealed, and what has delayed you will be removed. The unseen battle is real, but so is your victory. The next steps will show you how to claim the urgency of this moment and step into the divine window that is opening for you. There are moments in life that feel ordinary, blending into the rhythm of days and weeks, but then there are moments that pulse with a different energy, a sense that something is shifting, that heaven is drawing near. This is one of those moments. You may wonder, why now? Why is this message reaching me at this exact hour, with such urgency? My beloved, it is because the window before you is not just a passage of time, but a divine invitation. The next 30 minutes are not random, they are sacred, set apart, and charged with possibility. Throughout your journey, you have known the ache of delay. You have watched opportunities slip by, sometimes by a hair's breadth, and felt the sting of regret. There have been seasons when you prayed for change, but the answer seemed to tarry, just out of reach. The enemy has used these delays to whisper lies, that you are forgotten, that your time has passed, that nothing will ever shift. But the truth is, heaven's timing is never late, and when the divine hour arrives, what was held back can be released in an instant. This is the contrast between missed opportunities and immediate release. In the natural, it may seem as though nothing is changing, but in the spiritual realm, the courts of heaven have declared a new verdict over your life. The scrolls are being unsealed, and the seals that once kept you bound are being broken. The urgency you feel is not meant to create anxiety, but to awaken hope. It is a signal that the waiting season is giving way to a season of movement, that the doors which were closed are now swinging open. Why now? Because the prayers you have sown, the tears you have shed, and the faith you have held on to have reached a tipping point. The divine has seen your perseverance, and the one you love in heaven has interceded on your behalf. There is a convergence in the Spirit, a moment when your story, your longing, and heaven's purpose align. This is that moment. The next 30 minutes are a window for you to receive, to respond, and to step into what has been prepared for you. Do not let the enemy convince you that this is just another message, just another day. The difference between delay and release is often a single act of faith, a single moment of saying yes to what God is doing now. The urgency is not about fear of missing out, but about the joy of stepping into alignment with heaven's timing. When the divine opens a window, what once took years can happen in a moment. Restoration, clarity, and breakthrough are not distant dreams, they are present possibilities. You are being invited to move from waiting to receiving, from hoping to possessing. The courts of heaven are in session, and your case is being heard. The one you love, who now stands in the light, is cheering you on, urging you not to let this window close without reaching for what is yours. This is your divine hour, your appointed time. The next steps will reveal the signs to watch for, the confirmations that heaven is moving on your behalf. Stay present, stay expectant, for the window is open, and the time is now. Beloved, as you stand in this sacred window of time, know that heaven is not silent. The next 30 minutes are not just a countdown, they are a living invitation for you to witness the movement of the divine in your life. In this prophetic hour, signs and confirmations are being released, not to confuse you, but to bring clarity where there has been uncertainty. The difference between confusion and clarity is often a matter of attention, of tuning your heart to the gentle signals that heaven sends. You may wonder, what should I look for? How will I know if this message is truly for me? The answer is both simple and profound. The signs will come in ways that speak to your spirit, not just your mind. Some will be subtle, like a sudden warmth in your chest, a gentle breeze where there should be none, or a memory of your loved one that surfaces with unusual vividness. Others may be more direct, a song that plays with perfect timing, a message from a friend you haven't heard from in years, or a number that repeats itself in unexpected places. These are not coincidences, they are the language of heaven, woven into the fabric of your day. In this window, you may feel a shift in the atmosphere around you. Perhaps a sense of peace will settle over you, or a wave of emotion will rise up, reminding you that you are not alone. Some will notice a sudden clarity of thought, as if fog is lifting and answers are coming into focus. Others may experience a gentle nudge to reach out, to forgive, or to let go of something that has weighed them down. These inner promptings are just as significant as outward signs. The divine often speaks in whispers, not shouts, and your willingness to listen is the key to receiving. There may also be synchronicities, moments when events align in ways that defy logic. You might see your loved one's favorite flower, hear their name spoken unexpectedly, or encounter a symbol that was meaningful to them. These are reminders that the veil is thin, that heaven is closer than you think. The courts of heaven are orchestrating these moments, not to overwhelm you, but to assure you that you are seen and remembered. What was hidden is being revealed, and what was confusing is being made clear. If you feel a sudden urge to pause, to pray, or to write down your thoughts, honor that prompting. Sometimes, the act of journaling in this window will unlock insights that have been waiting to surface. You may find that as you write, words flow that you did not expect, messages of comfort, direction, or even answers to questions you have carried for years. This is the divine working through your willingness, turning hidden signs into revealed guidance. Be alert to your environment as well. A sudden change in light, a flicker of electricity, or the appearance of a feather or coin can all be gentle signals from the spiritual realm. The one you love, now in heaven, may be permitted to send you a sign, a sense of their presence, a familiar scent, or a dream that lingers after you wake. These are not to be dismissed as imagination, but to be received as gifts, tokens of love that bridge the distance between worlds. Above all, trust your discernment. If something stirs your spirit, if you feel a resonance deep within, let that be your confirmation. The divine does not play games with your heart. What is meant for you will be clear, and what is not will fade away. In this window, confusion gives way to clarity, and hidden signs become revealed guidance. As the minutes pass, remain open and receptive. Whisper a simple prayer, I am listening. I am ready to receive. The signs you notice now are the first fruits of a new season, evidence that heaven is moving on your behalf. The next steps will help you discern which voices to trust and how to set boundaries that protect your peace as you move forward. My beloved child, as the signs begin to unfold and the atmosphere shifts, it is more important than ever to walk in discernment. Not every voice that speaks into your life is sent by heaven. Not every hand that reaches for you is meant to guide you forward. In this season, the difference between false comfort and true support will determine the peace and progress you experience. The divine is inviting you to sharpen your spiritual senses, to recognize the scripts that have played out in your relationships, and to set boundaries that protect your heart and your destiny. Discernment is the gift that allows you to see beyond appearances. It is the ability to sense the spirit behind the words, to feel the intention behind the gesture. There are those who may appear supportive, who say all the right things, but whose presence leaves you feeling drained, confused, or diminished. These are the ones who offer counterfeit comfort, words that soothe the surface but never reach the root, gestures that promise much but deliver little. The enemy often uses familiar faces, even those closest to you, to keep you entangled in cycles of delay and disappointment. You may have noticed patterns in your life, relationships that start with promise but end in pain, friendships that demand more than they give, or family ties that bind you to old wounds. These are not random. They are spiritual scripts, written by past experiences and reinforced by unhealed places in your heart. The divine is calling you to recognize these scripts, to see where you have been playing a role that no longer serves your highest good. It is time to step out of the old story and into the new one that heaven is writing for you. True support feels different. It brings peace, not confusion. It encourages growth, not stagnation. Those who are truly for you will celebrate your victories, mourn your losses, and challenge you to rise higher. They will not compete with your calling or resent your progress. Instead, they will stand with you in prayer, speak truth even when it is hard, and honor the boundaries you set. These are the relationships that heaven uses to strengthen you, to remind you that you are not alone on this journey. Setting boundaries is not an act of rejection, it is an act of preservation. Just as the courts of heaven have boundaries, gates, seals, and protocols, so too must you guard the sacred space of your heart. You are not required to explain or justify the boundaries you set. You are simply called to honor the guidance of the Spirit, to protect the peace that has been hard-won, and to steward the restoration that is coming your way. If someone resists your boundaries, It is a sign that their presence may not be aligned with your purpose in this season. As you practice discernment, pay attention to how you feel after interactions. Do you feel lighter, more hopeful, more connected to God? Or do you feel anxious, depleted, or doubting your worth? The fruit of a relationship reveals its root. The divine will never lead you into connections that diminish your light or distract you from your calling. Trust the gentle nudges, the inner knowing that says, "This is safe," or "This is not for me." Your intuition is a gift, a whisper from heaven guiding you toward what is true. It is also important to recognize the scripts you have internalized about yourself. Perhaps you have believed that you must always be the strong one, the fixer, the peacemaker. Maybe you have accepted less than you deserve because you feared being alone. These inner rules are not from God. The divine calls you beloved, worthy, and chosen, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. Release the need to earn love or prove your value. You are already enough. As you move forward, remember that discernment is not about suspicion or fear. It is about clarity and freedom. It is the light that reveals what is hidden, the wisdom that protects what is precious. You are being equipped to recognize the difference between those who stand with you and those who simply stand near you. The days of confusion are ending, and the era of clarity is dawning. Before we continue, let me gently remind you, this message is spiritual encouragement, not legal, financial, or medical advice. Always seek wise counsel and trust your own discernment as you make decisions for your life. Now, take a moment to reflect. Ask the divine to reveal any relationships or patterns that need to shift. Pray for the courage to set boundaries and the wisdom to recognize true support. As you do, you will find that the right people will be drawn to you, and the wrong ones will quietly fade away. The next step is to anchor yourself in protection, to declare over your life that you are shielded and safe as you walk this new path. Beloved, as you stand at the threshold of new clarity and discernment, it is time to anchor yourself in the protection that heaven offers. In a world where vulnerability can feel overwhelming, where unseen forces and familiar faces sometimes bring confusion or pain, you are not left defenseless. The divine has assigned angels to your case, and the courts of heaven are attentive to your every need. Now, let us enter into a sacred moment together, a communal prayer for protection, a declaration that you are shielded by the highest authority. Take a deep breath and allow your heart to settle. Imagine, for a moment, the courts of heaven opening before you. See the great scrolls that bear your name, the seals that mark you as beloved, and the radiant presence of Archangel Michael standing guard. You are not alone in this battle. Where you have felt exposed, heaven now covers you. Where you have felt weak, divine strength is being released. Let us pray together, in one spirit and one voice. I invite you to repeat these words after me, allowing them to become your own. Divine Creator, I come before you now, grateful for your love and protection. I acknowledge my need for your shield in every area of my life. I invite your holy angels, especially Archangel Michael, to surround me and my loved ones. Let every weapon formed against me be rendered powerless. Let every scheme of confusion, delay, or betrayal be exposed and dissolved in your light. I receive the covering of your presence, the shelter of your wings, and the authority of your courts. I declare, I am protected. I am safe. I am surrounded by heavenly hosts. No harm shall come near me, for I dwell in the secret place of the Most High. I receive protection. Amen. Feel the shift as you speak these words. Vulnerability is not weakness when you are shielded by heaven. The divine does not leave you open to attack. Instead, you are encircled by light, guarded by angels, and watched over by the one who never sleeps. Every prayer you have whispered, every tear you have shed, has been heard and answered with a promise of protection. As you move forward, remember this moment. When fear tries to creep in, when old patterns attempt to return, recall the shield that has been placed around you. You are not at the mercy of circumstances or the intentions of others. You are under the jurisdiction of heaven, and nothing can touch you without passing through the hands of the divine. Let this prayer be your anchor in the days ahead. Speak it aloud whenever you feel uncertain. Share it with those you love, so that together you may walk in the confidence of divine protection. The next step is to prepare your space and your spirit for the shift that is coming, to make room for the restoration and overflow that heaven has promised. Beloved, as the shield of heaven settles around you, the atmosphere is changing. You are moving from a place of chaos into a realm of order, from stagnation into movement. The divine is not only working in the unseen realms but is inviting you to partner in the natural, to prepare your space and your spirit for the breakthrough that is coming. This is a sacred act, a declaration that you are ready to receive, that you are making room for what heaven is about to release. Begin with your physical space. Look around the room where you are right now. Is there clutter that has gathered, objects that carry memories of pain or seasons you have outgrown? Take a few moments to clear away what no longer serves you. As you do, imagine that you are not just tidying up, but making space for new blessings. Every item you release is a symbol of your willingness to let go of the old and welcome the new. Open a window, let fresh air in, and invite the presence of peace to fill your home. Light a candle or play gentle music, whatever helps you sense the shift from heaviness to lightness, from chaos to order. Now, turn your attention inward. Find a quiet place to sit, and take out a journal or a piece of paper. This is your sacred scroll, a place where you can pour out your heart without fear or judgment. Begin by writing down what you are ready to release, old disappointments, lingering fears, or words that have wounded you. Name them, honor them, and then declare that they no longer have power over your life. As you write, imagine the courts of heaven receiving your words, sealing them with compassion, and sending angels to carry away every burden. Next, write down what you are ready to receive. Be specific. Is it peace? Restoration? A new opportunity? The return of joy? Let your desires be known, not just to yourself, but to the divine. This act of writing is more than a wish. It is a partnership with heaven, a way of aligning your heart with the promises that are being released in this season. As you write, feel the shift from stagnation to movement, from longing to expectation. If you feel led, take a moment to invite the presence of your loved one who is now in heaven. Speak their name aloud, or write them a letter. Tell them what you miss, what you wish you could share, and what you hope for in the days ahead. Imagine their love surrounding you, cheering you on, and reminding you that you are never alone. Sometimes, the act of remembering is itself a form of healing, a way to bridge the distance between worlds and to honor the bond that cannot be broken by time or space. Consider creating a small altar or sacred space in your home, a place where you can return whenever you need to reconnect with peace and purpose. Place a photo, a candle, a stone, or any object that reminds you of hope and restoration. Let this be your reminder that you are preparing not just for a moment, but for a movement, a season of overflow and breakthrough. As you move through these steps, notice how the atmosphere shifts. The chaos that once filled your mind and your home begins to give way to order. The heaviness lifts, and a sense of anticipation takes its place. You are not just waiting for change, you are preparing for it, making room for the divine to move in ways you could not have imagined. Take a deep breath and declare, "I am ready for the shift. I make room for restoration. I welcome the new season." Let these words settle in your spirit as you continue to prepare, knowing that every small act of faith is multiplied in the courts of heaven. The next phase will reveal how the delays and scars of your past are being transformed into crowns of wisdom and restoration. You are not only preparing your space, you are preparing your life for the overflow that is on its way. Beloved, you have walked through seasons of delay, endured the ache of lack, and carried wounds that seem to mark your story with sorrow. But hear this. The divine is a master of reversals. What once held you back is now being transformed into the very thing that will propel you forward. The courts of heaven have not forgotten your tears, nor have they overlooked your faithfulness in the midst of trial. In this sacred hour, the scrolls are being unsealed, and the seals that once marked your pain are being replaced with crowns of wisdom and restoration. Imagine, for a moment, the heavenly vaults opening. Angels move with purpose, retrieving the scrolls that bear your name. Every scar, every disappointment, every moment you felt unseen is recorded, not as a mark of defeat, but as evidence of your endurance. The divine reads your story with compassion, and where others saw only wounds, heaven sees the seeds of wisdom and strength. The time of delay is ending. The verdict has been rendered, release is your portion, and restoration is your inheritance. There is a holy exchange taking place. Where there was lack, overflow is coming. Where you once felt empty, the divine is pouring out abundance. The places in your life that felt barren are being watered by the very tears you shed in secret. The wounds that once defined you are now being crowned with purpose. This is not just a promise for the distant future, it is a declaration for this very season. The divine is restoring what was lost, redeeming what was broken, and turning every scar into a crown. You may wonder how such a reversal is possible. The answer lies in the sacred imagery of heaven. The scrolls that once recorded your pain are now being rewritten with testimonies of victory. The seals that kept you bound are being broken by the authority of the courts of heaven. And the crown that is placed upon your head is not just a symbol of survival, but of triumph. You are not defined by what you have lost, but by what you are about to gain. Let this truth settle deep within you. Your story is not over. The divine specializes in taking what the enemy meant for harm and turning it for good. The delays you endured were not denials, they were preparations. The lack you experienced was not a punishment, it was a setup for overflow. The wounds you carried were not the end, They were the beginning of wisdom that will guide you and others into new seasons of hope. Now, I invite you to declare with me, I receive restoration. I receive the crown of wisdom. I receive the overflow that heaven has prepared for me. Speak these words aloud, let them echo in your spirit, and watch as the atmosphere around you begins to shift. The courts of heaven respond to faith, and your declaration is a key that unlocks new doors. As you embrace this season of restoration, remember that your scars are not a source of shame. They are the places where the divine has touched your life, the evidence of battles fought and won. Wear your crown with humility, knowing that it was forged in the fire of adversity and polished by the hand of God. Let your story be a testimony to others, a beacon of hope for those still waiting for their own reversal. Restoration is not just about what you receive, it is about who you become. You are being transformed from the inside out, crowned with wisdom, and equipped to walk in overflow. The days of lack are ending, and the season of abundance is here. The next step is to learn how to steward this overflow with humility and purpose, protecting the peace and restoration that have been entrusted to you. Beloved, as restoration begins to flow into your life, a new responsibility arises. The blessings you are about to receive are not only for your comfort, but for your calling. Heaven's overflow is never meant to inflate the ego or feed old patterns of striving. It is given so that you may walk in your true mission, blessing others as you have been blessed. This is the sacred difference between ego-driven gain and mission-driven overflow. The divine trusts you with abundance because you have been refined by lack, and your heart has been shaped by compassion. Now is the time to guard your peace and protect what has been entrusted to you. The enemy would love nothing more than to lure you back into old traps, cycles of comparison, pride, or fear of loss. But you are wiser now. The crown you wear is not a trophy, but a reminder of the journey you have walked. Stewardship begins with humility, acknowledging that every good thing comes from above and is sustained by grace. Let gratitude be your foundation, and let discernment be your guide. As new opportunities and relationships present themselves, pause and ask, does this align with my mission? Does it bring peace, or does it stir anxiety? Is this an open door from heaven, or a distraction dressed as a blessing? Not every offer is meant for you, and not every path leads to your destiny. Protect your overflow by saying yes only to what resonates with your spirit and advances your purpose. Remember, the courts of heaven have already approved your restoration. You do not need to prove your worth or chase after validation. Create rhythms of reflection in your daily life. Set aside time to pray, to journal, and to listen for the gentle nudges of the Spirit. When you feel the old patterns trying to return, when pride whispers, or fear knocks at your door, return to the altar you have prepared. Remind yourself that you are a steward, not an owner, of the blessings you carry. Share generously, but wisely. Give from a place of overflow, not obligation. Let your life be a channel through which heaven's abundance flows to others. Protecting your peace also means maintaining the boundaries you have set. Do not allow guilt or pressure to pull you back into relationships or situations that drain your spirit. The overflow you have received is precious. It is meant to sustain you and empower your mission. If you sense that something or someone is threatening your peace, pause and seek guidance. The divine will always confirm what is right for you through a sense of inner calm and clarity. Finally, celebrate your restoration with humility. Give thanks for every breakthrough, every answered prayer, and every new beginning. Let your testimony be a light for others, a reminder that restoration is possible for all who trust and persevere. As you walk in this new season, remember that your mission is greater than your ego, and your overflow is meant to bring hope and healing to the world around you. The next step is to connect with others who are on this journey, to build a community of hope and encouragement, and to share the restoration you have received. You are not alone, and your story is part of a greater tapestry that heaven is weaving. Beloved, as you walk in restoration and overflow, remember this truth: you are not alone. The journey of faith can sometimes feel isolating, especially when you have carried burdens in silence or faced battles that others could not see. But heaven's design is never for you to walk this path in solitude. You are part of a greater family, a community of hope that spans both earth and heaven. Where isolation once tried to define you, belonging is now your portion. In this sacred space, you are surrounded by others who understand your longing, your struggles, and your victories. Each story shared is a thread in the tapestry of God's faithfulness, a reminder that your breakthrough is not just for you, but for all who are connected to your journey. When you share your testimony, you become a beacon for someone else who is still waiting for their own restoration. Your words carry power, and your presence brings comfort to those who may feel forgotten. I invite you now to take a gentle step into this community. If this message has spoken to your heart, leave a comment below and declare, "I receive restoration." Let your voice join with others, creating a chorus of hope that echoes far beyond this moment. Subscribe to stay connected, so you never miss a word of encouragement or a signpost for your journey. Share this message with someone who needs to know they are not alone, and together, let us build a family of faith that uplifts and restores. You are seen, you are valued, and you are deeply loved, not just by heaven, but by those who walk this path with you. As you continue forward, know that you belong to a community that celebrates your victories and stands with you in every season. The next message will guide you into even deeper peace, anchoring you in the assurance that your story is still unfolding, and the best is yet to come. Beloved, as this sacred time draws to a close, let your heart rest in the assurance that you are exactly where you need to be. The urgency that brought you here was not meant to stir anxiety, but to awaken you to the nearness of heaven and the care of those who watch over you. Now, as the window of this message gently closes, a new atmosphere settles, one of deep peace, quiet confidence, and the knowing that you are held in the hands of the divine. You may feel the temptation to rush ahead, to seek the next answer or solution, but hear this: peace is your portion, even in the waiting. The journey of restoration is not a single moment, but a series of divine appointments, each one building upon the last. Where anxiety once tried to fill the silence, let calm assurance take its place. The same God who called you to this message will continue to guide you, step by step, through every season that lies ahead. There is no finality in the story heaven is writing for you. Each message, each sign, each gentle nudge is part of an ongoing conversation between your heart and the heart of God. The one you love in heaven is still cheering you on, still sending reminders of their presence, still urging you to trust the process. You are not forgotten in the in-between. The divine is working in ways you cannot yet see, preparing the next chapter, the next breakthrough, the next word of encouragement that will meet you right where you are. So, as you move forward, carry this peace with you. Let it be the anchor for your soul, the calm in the midst of uncertainty, the gentle reminder that you are never alone. When the next message arrives, return with expectation, knowing that heaven always has more to reveal, more to restore, and more to pour out upon your life. Until then, rest in the assurance that you are loved, guided, and protected. The journey continues, and the next message awaits you, full of hope, wisdom, and the promise of even greater things to come.